Guys, we'll start in another 2-3 minutes. Let's give 2-3 minutes to these people. Okay. Okay. Good evening, guys. We'll start here. One sec. Where is the chat? Will it copy? Bad. I'm just copy pasting the text tag. I had an example lined up for you guys. I'll just use it. Let me see if I can put it someplace. Okay, I think it should work. If this works, where is the chart? Okay, sec. Yep. Okay, I've just pasted it for you. So front end, React, Angular, HTML, CSS3, JavaScript, backend, similarly database, DevOps, all these. So front end, backend, database, DevOps, cloud, testing, version control, Then the project tools, Jira, Confluence, Miro, Teams. Then monitoring and logging tools, Kibana is the very popular one. And API, mostly Postman is a very popular one. Postman and Kafka is also there. So you can use some of these, just read one or two. If you are not aware of anything, just read one or two lines. I'll explain you how you have to explain. So they will not ask you the technical details, but you should be able to tell these guys that, for example, see, you can say, if they ask you how is the front end working, so you can say my team is using React for building client facing features, and I make sure dependencies are identified. Or for example, we are using Java Spring Boot for our APIs, and my database is this. But whatever you are checking, just do a Google first of which version and all that, so that you can tell the correct version. They will not ask you anything. Just so, for example, CI/CD, which is your tool, so mostly it is Git only. So there are others also, but most popular of them is Git only. So for the version control, so AWS for your cloud, so it should work here. They will not ask you very many things. Bitbucket, GitHub, Git, all these are your CI/CD tools and version control tools. So just go through this, and then if there are any concerns, let me know. I will start in another minute. Okay, so last time, I think there is a Rupa. This is your first class, is it? Somebody.
Yeah. So today is the first class.
You can go through the recordings. We have discussed few things.
Sure.
Then, of course, you let me know. Where is my room here? Okay, fine. Okay. So far, where were we here? We had discussed, I'm out of sync today. Where were we? We had discussed, I think, all the events. Then we discussed bit of sprint planning, and we discussed bit of, we discussed, we had how to start a sprint, how to product backlog, sprint backlog, all those discussions we had. Good. Okay. So today what we are going to discuss is, without which you cannot go to any interview, which is what are the day-to-day blockers that you get. So any damn interview you cannot attend without knowing blockers. What is it that you do on a day-to-day basis? What is it that you get in your daily stand-up? So you need to have a very detailed understanding. In fact, you should know so much that you can use their half an hour just for these things, so that they don't ask any silly questions. Because this is what really you do. You take on the blockers. So I'm going to discuss those blockers with you today. So primarily, by the way, this is all clear to all of us. Daily stand-up is a event or a call where you will meet your Scrum team and PO to identify blockers and dependencies. It is not a status call. It is a call where you are identifying blockers and dependencies. It is inspect and adapt. This is the word you have to use. Daily stand-up is inspect and adapt. You are inspecting whether the team is moving towards their sprint goals and adapting based on whatever happens in the daily stand-up. So it's an inspect and adapt. It is based on inspect and adapt. Now, what sort of, and by the way, one other thing, daily stand-up, how many minutes?
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
100%. In all the interviews, you can say 15 minutes only.
Ideal should be
Maximum
15
15
minutes.
minutes. It can be less also.
In all the interviews, you will say 15 minutes, 100%. अरे book में लिखा है वो सिर्फ. That's only.
It will not be 15 minutes. It will extend half an hour. Sometimes it will be 5 minutes also. Depends upon that issues on that day.
But we don't discuss issues on stand-up.
Issues means like
beautiful.
sometimes we won't get the system or something. Somebody's laptop would have
That
been
is
down.
the follow-up call.
No, not follow-up call. It will be the day-to-day issue. Somebody may not able to work with due to laptop issue. That will be shared with other person on that day or something.
Only that information, and later the follow-up call, like how we will get the laptop and other
Okay,
things.
let's get into detail. So to see, so let us say you are in Infosys. Infosys has 40-50 member teams. HCL also have plenty of teams like this. There are a lot of companies who have 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 member teams, and they call it agile teams. This is the world we live in. We send our children to schools who claim they will teach, and we all know that doesn't happen anyways. So point being that you cannot always say 15 minutes. If you are appearing for European or American companies or Fortune 100, Fortune 200 companies, good companies, then you can tell them that you have a 10 to 15 member team or an 18 member team, something like that. And you have a 15-minute time boxing. There is something called time boxing. Time boxing is, which is one of the key elements for a Scrum Master, that he is observing that a particular event does not exceed the time limit, because if the calls go on long and long and long, often bullshit discussion happens or unproductive discussions happen, and that is not what is recommended by Agile, or that is not a good practice to have. So that is another question you will be asked. How do you time box these events? Time boxing these events is that how do you keep your darwaza band kar diyo. How do you keep these events to the time which is stipulated for these guys? For example, DSU is supposed to be 15 minutes. So there are two things. In real life interviews, you cannot always say 15 minutes. If you are appearing for Indian companies, domestic companies like that, if you are telling that you have handled 25, 30, 35 member teams, then you cannot say 15 minutes. They will not believe you. It's a bullshit that you are saying. If I have a 30, 35 member team, no way I can complete it in 15 minutes. So in those interviews, you can say 25, 30 minutes, but do not never exceed more than 30 minutes. So if it is a 25, 30, 35 member team, 25, 30 minutes accordingly. But now the key question is, in daily stand-up, how do you time box it? What if your calls are not limiting to 15 minutes? Then what I'll give you one suggestion and then we guys can discuss. First golden rule of daily stand-up is that there should be no discussion. It should not be a status call, blockers and dependencies. People should not think that you are the boss and they have come there for reporting. That is not how you build the agile culture. Secondly, no troubleshooting happens in the daily stand-up. No what you call technical deep dives. My APIs is not working. Oh, there might be endpoints missing. Oh, I had talked to the infra team, that endpoint, array, all this. If, okay, I have an issue, Kiran has an issue, but why are we wasting Rupa's time or Deepak's time or Wasim's time? So in daily stand-up, the only way or one of the key ways to time box it is that you avoid any troubleshooting. So let us say I have an API issue. Okay. So who can help? Okay, Rupa can help. Then make something called parking list. So parking list is okay. First issue, API issue on this story. And then who will talk? Rupa will talk with Kiran. Then there is another technical issue. Then there is another functional issue. So let us say Venkatesh sir has a functional issue. He is not clear with one specification that the PO wants as an acceptance criteria. He needs more example or more use cases. Then put it down. Okay, Venkatesh sir plus PO another clarification. So basically, park these items, whatever needs a discussion, park these items, and you can maintain a impediment log or a blockers log. Impediment and blockers are one and the same thing. It means the same. Impediment or a blockers log is Scrum Master will log these items, whatever were the issues raised in the daily stand-up and who is working on them. Whatever, so somebody says some is a functional blocker, technical blocker, some any sorts of blockers. So all those items you will park them, and then respective people after the daily stand-up can talk to each other and sort it out. And then of course you can follow it up during the day, or in when you go to the next daily stand-up, then you will have a discussion of that before you start, that what happened on that, did we resolve that blocker, or is it still continuing, like that. So how do you time box your daily stand-ups? You time box your daily stand-ups by making sure technical deep dives, no troubleshooting happens, only a bare minimum discussion, so that people can know who to connect with who, and you are aware that who is meeting with who on which blocker, so that any follow-up activity can be taken place. So if technical deep dives happen, then it can then it can turn into 1.5, 2 hours call. And that is something which daily stand-up is not. It is not a technical troubleshooting call. It is a quick dependencies and blockers call. We know, okay, on this day, 11th of August, Monday, we are facing 3 challenges. Okay, on each of these challenges, these people are meeting. The next day, okay, this was sorted, this was sorted, this is still continuing. Next day, so, and then at the end of the sprint, you can send your 10-day log or impediment log or a blockers log list to your management. These were the logs faced. This was the discussion. This was the people who met them, and something like that. Again, this is one of the ways you can do it, or one of the good practices. Is this the golden rule that everybody has to do it? No. There could be some other practices in your real life you might have used, and that was effective. But the main point is that daily stand-up should not exceed more than 15 minutes for a 15 to 20 member configuration team. If it is 25, 30, 35 members, then also 25, 30 minutes is a reasonable time. Anything beyond that, this meeting loses its significance. It becomes a bullshit call. If you are going to spend 1.5 hours there, then chai sutta break or a samosa break, whatever, then 2 hours is this only. Then when will people work here? So it does not make any sense. And all the bad teams make it to a grooming भी उसी में कर लेंगे. Technical troubleshooting also they will do. Organizational updates also. All sorts of mess they will do in that. That's a problem. Okay. Then another thing. No, what you do in real life is a different thing, but interview may you have to say that you are a pakka agilist and you follow and all that. Once you get a job, then you do whatever you want to do. Okay. So yeah, Kiran, you know, Kiran, how world works, right? So schools don't teach, hospitals don't cure you, politicians don't work, banks don't think well of you, and we think this is a beautiful civilized society. Anyways, okay. So point being that, so these are, oh yeah, I think I'll take a question, then go to Venkatesh sir.
Sir, the interviewer asked me, okay, should a Scrum Master attend the daily Scrum meeting? Then what should I say?
100%.
100% no S.
Scrum Master is supposed to facilitate this meeting.
Okay,
He
sir.
has to know, as a Scrum Master, I am attending these meetings, I am facilitating these meetings, and I am keeping an impediments log or a blockers list. Okay, that is one. There is a very common misconception in the agile world that mature teams do not need a Scrum Master. Bullshit. So if your team is mature, organization is mature, which is hardly the case. Hardly 5-10% organizations are mature in agile, and India not so. So even if you are into a very mature organization and a very mature agile team, you still need a Scrum Master as an inactive participant, which means he will still be there as an observer. Are seniors helping juniors? Is there any safety concern? Are people dishing out their blockers? Are they saying their blockers? It could be on day 9, they are saying, oh, they could not complete their story, but they are not raising any concerns on day 2, day 3, day 4. So who will do this observation? Whether people are raising their blockers, are they discussing dependencies? Is PO available for any confirmations? Is QA and dev sign off happening? What are there any behavioral issues? What is the attendance like? What is the energy level? What is the morale of the team? Are there any potential conflicts happening? Who will do all these things if the Scrum Master is not there? So for mature teams, mature organizations, you still need a Scrum Master to be there as an inactive participant, as an observer, because that's your major role, to observe things and share feedback based on your observations. So that will still be there. For conflict resolution, are people raising risks? Are people raising their blockers? Are they raising their dependencies? Is PO available for all those concerns? Is camaraderie between the team good? You need on a day-to-day basis at least a 15-minute connect with the team to see how they are doing on day-to-day issues.
So I can say, sir, that a Scrum Master should attend the daily Scrum meetup, but not as a participant, but an active listener.
If the if the organization is mature and the team is also mature,
Okay.
and both the conditions you will find very hard to get.
Right.
Most of the organizations are not agile, mature organizations. Most of the teams are also not, at least at this point. So you will always be an active participant in facilitating these meetings. Got it, no?
As per the Scrum guide, should not attend. That's what my doubt actually is.
No. Scrum guide again. Scrum. If you look at the Scrum guide, it says again, active as an active listener. You can be there as a not as an active participant. You are still there as an observer, 100%. Okay. Yes. Let's go to yes, Chavan sir.
Yeah, sir. Actually, this is not a status meeting, right? Scrum, I mean, daily Scrum. So how we can actually identify specific, suppose a story, someone developer is working on some specific story, okay? So how we can get the status of that? He is actually
Again, you are saying
working
it
or
is
not?
not a status meeting, but how will you get status?
I mean,
You are saying it is not a status meeting,
yeah.
but how will I get status? You get that's fine. I get you.
Yeah,
See,
I
there is a
mean,
tendency that
yeah.
we want to know what is the status. We don't want to know the status. We want to know is anybody facing any blocker or dependencies. If there is no blocker and dependencies, they can say all well. No dependencies, no blockers.
Okay, but our story is work actually particular developer is working properly. I mean, going on time on specific task and all. Then how we can identify
This is
that
not
actually in
policing.
which?
This is not policing. If somebody is saying that there are no blockers and no concerns, which means they are doing well. They are on
Okay,
target to
okay,
complete
on
this work.
schedule. Okay,
Now
thank you.
let us say on day 9, there's all through 9 days they are saying everything is fine. On day 9 they say, oh, this is not completed, this is not done, I was saying. Then fine, that is fine. Then you have a one-on-one discussion with this guy. Why do you think if you raise the issues, your tech lead will think that you are not a good developer? Is that what you are thinking? If that is the case, then it should not happen, because this is not a judgment call. And if this call is used as a judgment call, where people are trying to find mistakes in you or bad things on you, or it's a judgment call, then this call loses its purpose. This call is of no use to anybody. Hey, every day of my life, first thing in my morning, I am going to be judged whether I am a good developer or not. Every day of my life. This is too much here. With that sort of pressure, mistakes will happen. People will be demoralized. It is a highly toxic environment to work. And this is what happens in real life. Most of these places are like that. You are going to judge me every day of my life. Seriously. And you are not going to trust me that, why did you interview me? There was an interview done 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds. Then there was a client interview. There was a project interview. After all these interviews, I am here. Trust me for a few days. Okay, after one sprint, I did not deliver. Fine. Let us ask why delivery was not done. What are the reasons? And let's try to help this guy. Another sprint goes, no, nothing happens. Another. So you give people 2 to 3 sprints and see what it does, because unless and until you trust the people, they will not take the ownership. If today, one day you are saying that you don't trust them, you have to tell them hour by hour, minute by minute what happened. Then you have to do this every day. They will never take the ownership, and they will always think that they are not good enough. Every day, if you are challenging somebody's ability, that's not a very good environment to work with. And then you are not giving confidence to those people either. So, I mean, this is how how Agile and how Scrum and how great organizations work. They think that people are skilled and they are self-motivated. They want to work well. But if you are thinking that somebody does not think well of the team and he is not motivated to work, that's a behavioral issue. That's a separate discussion. You are assuming that people want to work, they want to complete their stories, unless proven otherwise. And after 2, 3 sprints, anybody can have a bad sprint. Anybody can have 2 bad days. Anybody can do 2 bad stories. So what is the trend? Is somebody not doing well for 2, 3, 4 sprints after consistently talking to them? Then we'll get into that, how to deal with those behavioral issues.
Okay, thank you.
And again, always one-to-one. If somebody is not performing, one-to-one, find out the reason and try to help. If policing is done, then it does not work. Maybe somebody got a lottery. Maybe somebody is going to go to US for MS. They don't want to work. Just identify those people and give them bench or some other project rather than picking a fight over these things. There are other ways to amicably handle it. Got it, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. No, this is all for interview. You can still end up being a toxic organization and end up taking these calls.
Actually, sir, this is happening actually. Actually in stand-up, only status is there. You did this, you did this, or not, like that only. That's yeah.
I mean, you will still end up doing it, but the ideal way of doing it is blockers and dependencies and trusting your people to complete their work. And if they are not completing, then talking to them one-on-one and finding out the reasons. If there is consistent non-performance. Yeah, Priyanka, madam.
So what about the product owner? You said that they will be also attending the daily scrum, right?
So if the product, if the product owner 100% has to be there in the daily stand-up, because he needs to know if there are any concerns from the development team on any of the stories functionally and what is getting ready for him to review. Are there any critical bugs which are raised by the QA team? If yes, then that also needs a discussion between PO, developer, and the QA.
Okay, because when we were, I think, preparing for the certification, I think that time we were told that the PO has to be available once in a day. Not, in fact, we have to.
Business and developers work hand in hand together. That is one of the key best practices of all the good software teams. So business and developers have to work hand in hand, which means PO has to be there in your daily stand-up.
Okay.
And he has to be available throughout the day at various points of time. He has to connect with the developers. He has to connect with the QA, and it could be grooming calls. There could be bug triages. It could be functional issues. So many different things. PO has to be there. In fact, if PO is not there, PO unavailability is one of the key blockers in the Agile or Scrum team. So the next topic I'm going to cover is what are the day-to-day blockers that you get. The key blocker, one of the key blockers is PO unavailability. If PO is not available on a day-to-day basis, then it is a big problem. How do you solve that problem? We'll get into it.
Okay, because That when we were doing that training, we were told that we should have that ability to politely tell the PO that that he should not attend the daily Scrum. Basically, he should be available once in a day to solve the blockers, but not the.
PO has to
So
be.
that
So again, PO has to be there. PO has to work with the team. He has to know what is happening on it. It can happen that your PO is from a client. It is not from your own team. In those cases, you can skip that. You can skip it at PO in the daily stand-up. You can skip the PO in the sprint review also. In no, not sprint review, sorry, sprint retrospective and in the daily stand-up if the PO is from the client. But easier said than done, PO will be there in the daily stand-up. He needs to know here what are the functional issues that are coming on a day-to-day basis, what are the bugs coming, what if he needs to know if two critical people are not not available, what are we going to do. He has to, let us say some story is blocked because of some dependency, we can't do it. Then we need to take a call, boss, do we block it or do we pick up something else? All that PO needs to be there. Yeah, Vilasha.
Yeah, hi sir. My question might be silly, but still, like whatever you are explaining right now, we are able to understand everything, right? But how to like keep all these thing in mind till the interview, like.
Actually, there is a this is offline. There is actually a rule of 8 in learning. So any time and every time you want to master something, you have to revisit that concept 8 times. But okay, you don't do 8 times, even 4 or 5 times. So you hear this now, then another session with you when you go back to this recording, then after 2 days again, then maybe after a few days again. So if you go through these concepts 3, 4, 5 times, you'll be able to know. First time it is daunting.
Mhm.
After you go through these things 2, 3, 4 times, you'll get a hang of it. So if you want to master anything, there's a rule of 8. By the way, it's one
Okay.
of the, if you get a chance, there are principles of learning. Very sadly, our schools or colleges don't get into all this. They think either you are smart or not smart. They put everything on you. So this is not how world works actually, but fine. So you must go through the rules of learning. There are principles of learning, the best ways to learn any concept. Go through it, it'll help you long term.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Let me, so Dipta and Chavan sir, can I take the questions after 15 minutes? Okay. Let me start here. Okay. So couple of things I told on daily stand-up, then next I will go through them. First of all, now we have to get in any interview you cannot go to unless you know your blockers. So what are the different kinds of blockers that you can get into? What are those blockers? So there are primarily 5 or 6, 5 rather. There are 5 kind of blockers. So let us understand. So you could have technical blockers, process related blockers, people blockers, strategic blockers, organizational blockers. Don't worry, I'll copy paste it for you. So technical blockers are code issues, tools issues, integration issues, infra related. We'll get into each of these in detail. So process is agile practice, ceremony issues, grooming is not happening, how to close the story, we are not clear. Technical issues are unit testing is not happening, Git is not working, CI/CD is not working, development server is slow, SIT server is slow, all those sorts of things. Then people is team dynamics and skill and availability. Team dynamics is juniors and seniors are fighting, or there is groupism in the team. Then skill issue could be there. React, but Java stories are also coming and you don't know much about Java. Or you could be a 3-year Python developer, but you are getting 8, 10, 12-year stuff. You are not very comfortable with those. availability. People are 3 o'clock every Friday. I am not well. I have a doctor's appointment. All those things that we get. I am running late, all those things. Then strategic, product direction. PO does not know which features to build or in which priority. Today he gives 2 stories. After third day he says, no, we don't have to do it. We'll do something else. Or at once gives too many things. So there is no product vision or product direction. Dependencies. You have dependencies with other teams and those teams are not delivering or there is problem. Then organization, culture. You could end up in being a toxic culture or the leadership wants fixed timelines. You want to deliver, okay, you give me an estimation in 8 hours, 37 minutes, 2 seconds, you have to complete this. These are agile estimations. Software is, you can never predict accurately how much time it needs to complete a feature. Never. That is why in agile, we never talk about delivering the entire piece in one go. We say these are the 10 things we are going to work in this release. We may end up completing 6 features, 7 features, 8 features, or it could be 10 features. It depends. So, but in real life, you will be pressurized into estimating in hours, minutes, and that is very bad. But if you end up doing it, how to deal with that, that also we'll discuss. Okay. So I'll go through a list of a few very popular blockers and how you are going to do it. A mix of all these 5. Okay, one sec. I have it somewhere in my notepad. I will. By the way, all the list of blockers is there in your PPT, so you don't have to worry. If it's not there, let me know. One sec. You guys are able to see it, right? Technical process people. So which is the most popular issue we get is, you've heard of it. I don't know how many of you are technical or not, but you've heard of it. There is something called merge conflict. So every second day, fourth day of your DSU, in the developers will come and they are stuck and they have merge issues. So basically what merge issue is, so you have a main code base. Whatever product project you are dealing with, there will be a main code base. Okay. So let us say that main code base has 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 features, whatever. Let us say it has 50,000 lines of code or 10,000, whatever is the number. Let us say 50,000 lines. Now, this is my existing code base. Is this clear? Any project, any product would have a code base. That is your main code base. That main code base has 20,000, 50,000, 2 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh, whatever lines of code. Now, I am starting a new story. It's a new feature. I have written 50 lines of code. This is working, whatever it is. Now, I want to push my code into main because this is fine. This is called merging of the code. I am pushing my code into the main code repository from my feature branch. By the way, if you don't understand feature branch and all, don't worry about it. We'll get into that. So just say there is a main code base, and now I have written 50 lines of code. I want to merge this code. Another guy also wants to merge the same code function. Now people are trying to merge at the same time. There are merge conflicts. To avoid, so every day or every second day or every third day you can have this. So merge. So basically, if at the same time multiple people try to merge their work, the version control system will say, boss, I don't know which code to keep. You sort it out. It will give you merge conflicts. So what does a Scrum Master do? Scrum Master encourages the team to have daily merges. So how do you track that? You can have a metric, how many merges are happening on a day-to-day basis. It can be tracked through the Jira. There are Git tools also, and your tech lead or architect can sort you out on this. But essentially, you have to find out if merges are happening on a day-to-day basis or not. If merges are happening on a day-to-day basis, but that means team is also working, right? If I have no code to do, then how will I There is no merge happening. So that is another way of indirect way of finding out whether work is happening on a day-to-day basis or not. So merges should be very often, and then there should be coordination between the team. Similar functionality should not be merged simultaneously. Then code ownership and branching strategy, or at least branching strategy. Your tech lead and your architect should know what is the branching strategy. As a Scrum Master, you just need to ensure that there is some branching strategy and code ownership strategy as a part of your engineering practice. If it is there, beautiful. If it is not there, then Mr. Architect, can I please have it? Mr. Tech Lead, can I have it? It is not that you are, if you are interested, then of course you can get into branching and all, but you will have too much to do to worry about these things. This branching role is your technical team's role to find out what branches they have to build in your version control systems, and your architect to do that. So merge conflicts is the most common popular technical blocker. You should have a proper branching and code ownership strategies. Your tech leads and your architect should have this handy. If not, then you will encourage them to have it. Mostly you have engineering, there's an engineering department, so they will also have a set of rules. So you'll have to work with those guys to get it. So then, second most important. So merging is clear to all of you on a very basic level. Merging, you've got it, and what is that you are supposed to do? Merging is, so I get a lot of merge issues. I encourage the team to coordinate it better and have frequent merges, and there is a proper branching and code ownership strategy by your architects and the tech leads. Second, environment is down or slow, which is the most basic. You are building a feature, SIT is down or slow. What are you going to do? It will delay. So what are you going to do? So as soon as an environment is down, or if it is not available for whatever periods of time, you have to note it down and then talk to the infrastructure or the DevOps team that, boss, I had an 80-hour sprint. Out of those 80 hours, 16 hours were, or 17 hours were lost due to infrastructure issues. So 20%, 25%, 30%, whatever percentage of time is lost, you have to explain it to those guys, to your management, that, boss, 20%, 30%, 40% of my productivity is lost due to this. We need to solve this. That sort of approach you have to take. And you have to go to their managers, talk it out, go to the architect team, engineering team, and sort it out. There should always be a stable testing environment. If it is not there, it is your duty to raise it with the organization, with the right people. You should know who are the people who are giving you the environments, and then raise it with your delivery managers and their bosses that 20%, 30%, 40%, whatever is your productivity loss because of those. It is, you are paying salaries to testers and developers, but that's a clear revenue loss or a productivity loss. Your role is to highlight it and see to it that people who are going to fix it, they know, and your bosses know, and there is somebody who is doing it. And if there are consistent issues, you are raising it with all the right people and in the organization at whenever your opportunity comes. It could be organization calls, it could be multiple escalation points, so whatever is your metrics, but you have to raise it. Stable testing environment and dev server also with enough juice to not to have any infra or DevOps issue. Then you can have, there is something called sandboxes these days. Sandboxes are, Sudipta, I think you have worked. Yeah, tell. What is your experience of working with a sandbox? What are those and how do you use them?
Actually, I worked in mobile testing with sandbox accounts. Like those are mimicking the real account, like Apple or other Samsung. So like an exact user, you will get into the application, but it is actually a testing account, not
Yes.
that.
And most of the teams own this, so it is easier. You don't have much dependencies on the infra team also. These are not real environments, but standalone replicas of those environments. So sandbox is another way of dealing with this issue. But the major thing is you have to sort it out with your infrastructure DevOps team. You have to highlight your issues, and you have to understand the metrics, how much percentage of hours were lost in your sprint because of each of those issues. Then next biggest issues, dependencies. Your team is building a system which needs Google Maps. Google Map API is not working. You end up wasting your time. You are integrating for payments into your system. Some UPI system you are integrating, PhonePe or whatever, that is breaking. So whatever you do, I'm just covering the technical aspects first, then we'll get into. So let us say your this Google API is not working. So if your app is using that API and whatever calls your application is making to APIs is going to fail, and your devs, your QAs are going to be having a lot of issues. So there are two ways to easily handle it. One is to mock these APIs. You can mock these APIs, create fake API responses so that teams can continue. So, and the other is that there is something called circuit breakers. Circuit breakers is that you remove all those services which are down. Stop calling a failing service. So whatever calls are being made to Google API, you can disable it or comment it out. If these calls are not getting made to these APIs, then your system, it will work. But in the next, so it will work for now. And maybe you are in dev, you can do this and then move your code to SIT and then you can re-enable it. But for the time being, at least that blocker will be resolved. So either you can fake these APIs, mock these APIs, fake endpoints and all, or you can do something called circuit breakers. And that should also work. So, and of course, whatever is failing, if it is third-party APIs, if it is with some other team, you raise it with those guys, get an ETA on that. If it is third party, you talk to those vendors and get an ETA and tell them the impact and communicate the impact also with your stakeholders that, okay, boss, we have a dependency on X vendor. That X vendor has promised us there is a downtime of 3 days, 4 days. Our delivery is going to be impacted. Your job is to be understanding what is the issue, what is the impact on your team, what is the impact on that productivity, and then explaining it to the management and telling them that these are the steps which your team has done to ensure that the impact is bare minimum. Is this clear? So your biggest blockers are your merge conflicts, then environmental issues, then your dependencies. So let us say some other team dependencies on basically external APIs. If it is within the organization or within the teams, then that's not very difficult to process. External APIs is a big problem. Then another, so these were some of your technical challenges. Then process related challenges could be unclear requirements. Developer starts a story, then says, boss, it is not clear. There is no acceptance criteria, vague sentences are there, I don't understand anything. Very common. PO will just write one line, create report. One acceptance criteria he will put, and he will expect 10 different things to work. Grooming was never done. These things were never discussed. Straight away assigning a requirement. So you have to work with the PO to make sure that groomings are done properly. There is a definition of ready, which means unless and until the story is ready for development, which means acceptance criteria is there, dependencies are sorted out, whatever is required to start coding on that requirement is available with the team before you take it up. So that's your definition of ready. We'll get into detail of what is exactly a DOR, what each point should be, a typical DOR we will discuss. Yeah, Chaman.
Sir, grooming meeting. Okay, that is whose responsibility actually? Because uh, I am the Scrum Master. Okay, and PO is there. So whose responsibility?
So you
Because
will send an invite. It could be PO also can send an invite, or you can, as a SM can send an invite, PO can send an invite, doesn't matter. Ideally, PO can send an invite because it should be his call. But if he is not doing it, then you send an invite. Unless and until groomings happen, stories are not discussed, and they are not discussed enough so that they are ready for development. If that is not happening, then this unclear requirement issues will come. Developers will build the wrong thing, then they will rework, or they will waste the entire sprint blocking a story and not completing. Delivery will be impacted, you will be questioned, your team will be questioned.
yeah, but in actually interview, they will ask, okay, what you are doing now. Now, actually, what is your role? Because of why this is issue is appearing. Because you
I
are the
didn't get
part
you.
of the like that means you are a
Yes.
part of the team, right? Am I
Uh,
audible? You
yes,
are
yes.
I mean, as a Scrum Master, you are the part of the team, right? And you are
Uh,
involved with the what is that refinement of the stories and
yes.
all,
So of
right?
course, if
So
the requirements are
so
not clear
yeah.
and the groomings are not happening, then Scrum Master is responsible. PO is, everybody is responsible. Why only Scrum Master? But as a Scrum Master, you have to tell the importance of these calls and have 2 or 3 sessions. Till that time, mostly developers will be more than happy to do these grooming only. If because tomorrow, if there is any problem, they also suffer. But POs try to sometimes run away from these meetings. So you have to get your PO in these calls. What is your role? How you will do those groomings? That step by step we'll get into. Then, but you have to get them into backlog refinement calls, and do not pick up stories if they are not ready for development. Otherwise, delivery is never possible. I mean, it is possible, but you will have to really work. Without groomings, if you are getting into deliveries or getting into sprints, 100% there will be blockers and issues. Then, so uncertain requirements, grooming calls. Merge, environmental issues, external APIs, these 3, 4 very important things. Then another big problem, mid sprint changes. In the middle of the sprint, on the 4th day, 5th day, PO says we have to do a new enhancement story or a new feature or whatever it is. And this disrupts the team. They 2-3 hours will be taken, then they don't know whether to continue with the old story or start the new story. Then another 2 days later, one other thing comes, then nobody knows what is happening. And this is typical of all the bad teams. And what do you do in these situations? So first step is you have to establish the criticality of that story, new story. 150% they will ask you in the interview, boss, if you get mid sprint change, if the PO request or PM request or stakeholders request, why don't you do this story? This is very critical, let's do it. Next day, this is also very critical, let's do it. Next day, another critical, everything in the middle of the sprint, critical things only come. Okay. So first you have to establish the criticality, why it is critical. If we don't do it, what is the impact? Do we lose revenue? Do we increase cost? Is there a statutory requirement? What happens if we don't do it? And only have a 10 to 20% adjustment possible. Okay, let us say the capacity of the team is you can do 10 stories. So you are willing to adjust with 1 or 2 stories. That is fine. If it is more than that, then it is a clear problem of product vision. These guys have no clue what is important to them. then that's a bigger issue. How to deal with that, that's a separate problem. But first, as a Scrum Master, you have to establish the criticality. Criticality means if anything comes in the middle of the sprint, the product manager, the product owner, the stakeholders, they have to explain why it cannot be, why we cannot wait for 5 or 7 more days to start this. Why is it that we need it now? What is the impact? So if you do this very rigorously, this is typically called a change management process. If a change comes in the middle of the sprint and you are changing the scope of a sprint, then there has to be a process on it. They have to establish a criticality and document it. Why this is important, why we have to do this. Most of the time, your 50% critical issues will go. And you have to use methods like Kano, WSFJ, Moscow to establish this importance. Only must-have features have to be taken or high-value items. What are those prioritizations method? How do you use them? That also I'm going to cover in next few classes, so you will know. So if you ask them that you have to do some prioritization method and find out the value of this item, most of these irrelevant items will not come. So that is one way of discouraging them to giving these irrelevant items. That is one. Now suppose this is a critical item, and your stakeholders, your product managers, your entire management know that there is some new story which has come in the middle of the sprint, because they have to approve it. Without their approval, don't let it start. Okay, that this is done. Criticality is established. It is a critical story, so we have to do it. Is this clear? That is mid-sprint change. First step, you have to establish the criticality. Let us say it is not critical. We can wait for it for 5 days, 10 days, 15 days. It is not so important. Fine. Then your problem is resolved. Your team is not disrupted. Your sprint goal is saved. But if it is critical, it is established. Then the second step is to do the prioritization for the finding the bandwidth of the team. So let us say, then you find out who does not. So find out. So the stories will be prioritized: high, medium, low. I'm talking on a very basic prioritization. It could be a little complicated also, but that will come later. So let us say there is a high priority story, there is a medium priority story, there is a low priority story. Because remember, your backlog is a prioritized list of things, and we pick up items, the product backlog items, based on its priority. So we have picked up few high priority items, medium priority items, low priority items. So then you find out who are the people who have medium or low priority items. So let us say you have 5 developers. Out of those 5 developers, 2 have high priority stories, 3 do not have any high priority stories. So, okay. People who do not have high priority stories, then can they do this critical requirement? Okay, we find out. Okay, let us say they can do it. And then we can drop this one low priority or a medium priority story. We can put it on hold, or we can delay it to the next sprint. So if the criticality is established, then we find out whether any medium priority story swapping. First, find out the bandwidth of the team. Let us say if somebody is there whose story is about to end, then fine, we can give that. If that is not the case, everybody has a story, then find out who has low priority or medium priority stories. Can we do a swap? Put a medium or a low priority item into the backlog and do this high priority item now. This way, your team is not stretched, and yet at the same time, you are able to help the business in doing a critical requirement with this swapping. Now, let us say we get into a situation where everybody is doing a high priority story. There is no low or medium priority story. In those cases, there are 2 things that can happen. Either you can ask the team to work extra, maybe put in a couple of hours more, or put in a half a Saturday, if everything is important. Or PO can say, okay, out of these 5 stories we have, okay, this one is although high priority story, but I can still wait for it till the next sprint. in that case, you can still swap that. That order of high priority story also, he can check it out and move it to the next sprint. Or if everything is important and we have to complete it, then ask for extra 2 hours, ask for a half a day, or ask for a shared resource if we can get some shared resource from some other project, and that can help us out. So there are, as a Scrum Master, you can never say no. Your role is to give the options, option A, option B, option C, and then the team and the management let them decide whatever you want. So your role is to give the options to these guys, whatever. So criticality is established. That is the first step. It is critical. Now, if it is critical, then you find out, are there any people who have low or medium priority stories? If yes, then you can do the swapping. If no, if everything is critical, then is there any other person that we can find out from some talent pool, some other team, some other person that can help us out? That is also not possible. Can we put in extra 2 hours? Can we put in or maybe you can renegotiate the scope of the story. That scope of the story wants you to build 3 things. Out of those 3 things, you say, okay, we'll build only 2 things now. One thing we can build later. Something that negotiation also of the scope of a particular story, that can also happen. So you have multiple options there. Then you can discuss it with PO and the team. So this is how you will answer. What do you do if a mid-sprint change comes? This is step by step of what you do. And so criticality is established, bandwidth is established, whatever. So there is an impact on your sprint backlog. Your sprint backlog changes. Your product backlog also changes. Sprint backlog is, you have taken 5 stories, but now you are going to do a swapping. Instead of X story, you are going to put Y. So there is a change in sprint backlog. Or maybe one story, you are putting it back to the product backlog. That also there is a change. So all these changes which are happening in your team, all that information you have to give it to your management and the stakeholders. That boss, a critical requirement came, our team adapted to it. We want to help the client or we want to help the business, and we did this. And so now these are our sprint goals, and this is back to the product backlog. So that communication is Scrum Master's duty. Whether PO is doing it, SM is doing it, that's fine. But as a Scrum Master, you ensure the communication of this. What is the impact of this mid-sprint change on your sprint backlog and product backlog? And whatever prioritization was done, all this information is sent out to the stakeholders. And then in your retrospectives, you have to discuss whether this was the right thing to do or you could have done anything better. So whenever mid-sprint changes come, then you ask the team, did we do well? What somebody will say, no, instead of taking a new story, we could have taken just one point of that story. We could not have done. They will give all sorts of suggestions. Based on those suggestions, whatever the team decides, for the next time if mid-sprint change come, then you can incorporate those suggestions and improve your process of adapting to new changes in the middle of the sprint. So this is the 4 or 5 step process that ideally a Scrum Master can introduce to the team to handle mid-sprint changes, which is your biggest issue that teams face. Is this? करो ना करो बता देना इंटरव्यू में, बस ऑफर लेटर ले लो. In real life, you will have to adjust. You have to do the compromises. Rent भी देना है, fees भी देनी है, और there are 100 other EMIs. क्या करेंगे? PM is my boss. You have to do it. CTO, you have to. Yes, sir. We will try our best. That's how world works, right? So, but ideally, this is the process that how it should be done. If it is not done, then that team is going to struggle big time. Doesn't matter what you do. If you are changing priorities every day and you are pushing the team is not aware of the priorities, you are digging a hole for yourself and you are going to jump in it big time. Kiran, why are you so serious? Yeah, don't be so serious. All good? Okay. I think, yeah, a lot of people have questions. Okay, let's start with Wasim sir. Yeah, Wasim sir.
evening, sir. Sir, can you come again the merge conflict? I'm a bit like, thank you.
Yeah, I'll come back to March. Fine. Venkatesh, sir.
Sir, if the interviewer is asking me if there is a continuous calls like the scope script is continuous, then can I say that okay, as per the capacity chart, I have allotted 10% of my capacity for the unexpected changes, as we discussed in the last class. Okay, can I say after the 10% has exceeded, maybe 15% is
No,
exceeded every
now
day,
is this a mid-sprint change or
mid
are
sprint
there
change?
too many unplanned items which are coming?
Both, sir. You can say both.
Okay, fine.
So and that point, can I say that I'll accept 15% only, and after that, if any scope keep is coming, then an approval request has to be taken. Can I say that thing?
Yes.
Because if say if the approval request, then you're moving into waterfall. Is that a cross question? Can I expect?
No, no. Approval doesn't mean you are going to waterfall. It means that you have to establish the criticality of a new item which is coming up. Because
Okay.
if you are accommodating everything, then what happens to the sprint goal? You are the
Correct.
protector of that sprint goal, right?
Hmm.
You have set out to do some certain objectives for that sprint. If something keeps coming, you have to protect it, right? So that criticality has to be established. You have to safeguard your team into frequent scope changes.
Okay, sir.
In Agile, there is no scope, but for a sprint, there is scope. You can change your release scope after one sprint. That's the beauty of Agile. But imagine a product owner who cannot even keep his priorities for 10 days. That means he has no clue what he's building. And if he is consistently doing that, it's a product vision problem.
Sir, if that scope creep would happen, is affecting the sprint goal, and that feature is very important that affects the business, that is affecting the business, then can I change the sprint goal? Is this a good decision?
Yes, but yes, if 1 out of 10 sprints is like that, fine. But if 6 out of 8 sprints is like that, then it's a big problem.
Okay. Right, sir.
See, it's not the one-off incident, it's the trend which is a problem. So
Correct.
often we say trend is your friend. So you have to look at the trends. One off it is happening, that's not a problem. If it is happening consistently, sprint after sprint, then it's a problem.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sudipta madam.
Yeah, hi sir. It's like from the PO when you are explaining that the PO needs to be present in the daily Scrum for understanding the different complexities if there are any. So I just want to understand, we will not discuss any complexity in the Scrum meeting. Okay, the blockers and dependencies are coming, the PO is listening to that. After that, the PO needs to clarify those. So those meetings needs to be facilitated by the Scrum Master.
Not necessarily.
He will
not
do
necessarily.
it.
No, not necessarily. But sometimes yes.
Okay.
If it is a too critical issue. So let us say 3 days have gone past. There is a critical bug and still there is no solution to it. Obviously, you will host a call and find out what is the reason why there is a blocker, why we are not able to solve it in after 3 days. There could be an escalation for this. If that is happening, then that bug troubleshooting or triaging call. And most of the time, you don't have to fix any code. The only thing is sometimes people are not willing to talk to each other. Yeah, that's the problem. You just have to enable them to talk to each other. So what is the issue? They will say we are not getting enough support from infra team. Have you raised a ticket with the infra team? Yes. Have they responded? No. So you talk to the infra guys. So now he says, okay, tomorrow he will be available with a call with your team. So you get that infra guy also. So what is it that infra needs? Infra needs this. Okay, even after this is going to be solved. No. UI has to do something in it. If UI does that, is this still going to be resolved? No, we don't know. Okay. So you do these steps and then again we will have a call like this. So that's sort of.
So immediately it doesn't need to be a follow-up call, but that the PO can take up. But if it is
see, if after 1 day, 2 day things are getting resolved, no problem. If consistent, after 48 hours, 3 days, consistently some blocker is there, then you have to get into a call with these guys to understand why. It could be a bigger issue.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes, Omkar.
Yes, so my question is, if in a sprint, the sprint goal changes due to the any critical requirement comes. So is product manager or product owner need to justify the business impact over? So it should be a written or talk, because there is a scenario happens with me that product owner said that, yeah, this is the critical issue, this is the business impact. Just he talks. He did not give the return or not over email. So as
Ideally,
a
there
Scrum,
should be an email from the product owner explaining why a sprint goal is getting changed, and that communication needs to be sent to the stakeholders, because agile is built on transparency.
yeah, that's us. And
So whatever team is doing, that has to be explained to the stakeholders so that there is no miscommunication and there is no accountability lost.
yeah, right. So over that, one more question: that if sprint goal changes and one critical functionality comes add on into it, and some lower will deducted from the current sprint. So it will take after 2 sprint. Okay. So grooming for that particular functionality is already done 2 sprint before. So is Scrum or Agile tells us that the grooming is you have to do it again because it
No, if
we are picking
no,
it.
it depends on the team. Team says, yeah, we are fine. We can take up that story.
Okay.
In the grooming, you can still have a discussion. Do we want this? This should be already in your DOR list, right?
Yeah.
This should be already in your DOR list. Then they ask, okay, is it required again? Team says, no, we are fine with it. No need. The team says, no, we have forgotten about it. Let's
Okay.
just have a quick discussion on it. Then you can have.
Okay. So it totally depends on team.
Depends on the team.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yes, Pyali ma'am.
Yeah. So DOR is done in the grooming call, right?
DOR is basically a checklist which tells the team on what conditions they will accept a story is ready for development or not. So, and that can change from sprint to sprint, from time to time. You will have a general checklist, and then they will find out, oh, we needed to add this also, we needed to add this also. So it will be dynamic only. I'll get into, when we discuss grooming, I'll get into what a DOR looks like and what is an ideal DOR and how we do changes based on it. We'll get to DOR. Okay, now I think somebody asked, Wasim sir asked merge conflict. Merge conflict is, yeah, developers say I have an issue with merge. Merge means that after a lot of, so either they are not merging it frequently. If let us say there are 5-6 developers and they are merging the code after 20 days into the main code branch, there will be plenty of code, there will be plenty of conflicts. So, and those conflicts will it will delay the deployment to SIT. That is the problem. What is happening with the story? It is in blog. Why it is resolving merge conflicts for 2 days, 3 days, and you will miss your sprint goals based on that. So how to avoid it? Have a clear branching strategy, do these merge conflicts regularly, and if it is too many merge conflicts, issues are getting blocked, then you get on a call with your tech leads and architect, what is happening and how can we resolve it.
Okay, sir.
That's your basic. Don't get into too much technicalities. That's your architect job. Usko bhi to paise kamane, usko bhi everything. One other thing. Scrum Master, everything they will put on you. You will die. Push things back. Everybody has a role. PO has a role. QA has a role. Architect has a role. DevOps has a role. Everybody has a role. Your job is to make sure everybody is working, facilitation and all that, coordination. If you start doing one specific issue, then who will take care of rest of this thing? You cannot. That is why I am very wary of technical Scrum Masters. I never recommend them. Or if you need a technical Scrum Master, keep a tech lead here. Why do you need a Scrum Master? I mean, if you need a help on coding, if you need at a code level, you have to work, yeah. Then you need a tech lead. You don't need a management guy or a leader. Scrum Master is a leadership position. You are going to lead a team, ask the uncomfortable questions, deal with the PO, deal with the stakeholders, make sure your team is coordinated. You work on the team culture. Those sorts of things you have to do.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Deepak, sir.
Yeah, just a general question, sir. Actually, regarding the merge tool, you said, right, the Scrum Master need not know everything. But just I wanted
No,
to
if
ask
he
whether.
knows, it is good. But
Okay.
if he is not aware, then let the tech lead and the.
See, like as a developer, I have worked in merge conflicts like SV and GitHub. So should I show that I have worked on
Oh
all
yes,
this?
yes. If you have certain good ideas, certain good practices, then of course you can guide them, share them. Yes.
And if I technically know stuff also as a Scrum Master, I can guide them, or should I hide it and keep it to myself?
100% guide them. Yes. Yes. Guide them. Yes. Why not?
Thanks.
See, apple cannot be mango. Mango cannot be guava. Every nature has built us different, right? So there is no set formula for these things, right? So, for example, there was a time I used to get into branching. It was fun. I used to do all those things, but not anymore. Then I realized there is more money to be made in managing people than systems. So I got disinterested in that and got interested in something else. And now I'm thinking people are too difficult to manage. Let me just go back to some culture building activity. So it depends on what your mindset is at that time. So there is no one, whatever feels that it is going to help you in your career, and you can take a decision based on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we discussed 5, and we'll discuss a few more tomorrow. Yeah, Mohammed sir.
Yeah, this one is my question is related to the mid-sprint change. Okay, so in case if we are receiving any new change on a day 6 or something like that, when we are almost at the end of the sprint, so at that time, like, how do we maybe there are stories which we
Even
can.
if it comes on day 7, day 8, because actually there are certain requirements which are very, very critical. Even a day or two lost there can really cause harm to the business. So you want to protect your sprint goals, but at the same time, you don't want to hurt the business. So if there is something which is very critical, even on day 9, you would rather start it on day 9 rather than wait for 2 days, because 2 days lost could end up costing a lot of money or whatever. So if there is something which is not critical, throw it away and then work on something critical. That flexibility we need to have. But that is why establishing criticality is important. If it is critical, then even it is on the 10th day, do it rather than wait for one more day.
Yeah, so in that case, if you want a grooming call to be done,
so you will
it has to be.
first you will do the grooming call, you will understand the requirement, do the estimation, and then start doing it.
But that will again take time, right?
No, but
So
unless and until you understand the requirement, how are you going to work on it? So there are occasions when they say, okay, forget about it, PO will connect with the respective developer and let's start it without doing proper grooming. You can do that, but as a Scrum Master, then you will say that you are taking a chance with the quality of the product. Because unless and until the requirement is clear, the QA knows what to build, the developer QA knows what to test, developer knows what to test, architect approves the design. If you are bypassing all these processes, then you are taking a chance with the quality of the product. If the management, the stakeholders are okay to compromise on the quality of the product, so be it. This is just a way of saying, but they will then get into some sort of grooming, at least if not 100%, then only 50%. It is better than zero.
And as I know, like, Scrum Master has a lot of responsibilities, and He is a very busy guy. So we
No,
have spoken about the other members of the team, developers, like when they will take off, when they will not be available. So we have taken that into account while doing our this
I didn't get it.
availability.
So Scrum Master is busy, and then
No, I'm telling like the Scrum Master is estimating the hours or the
no, Scrum Master
capacity.
is not estimating. It is the team who is estimating.
Okay, no, I forgot that word. So where we put who is available on what, how many days, and what is our capacity. So
Capacity chart.
That capacity sheet.
yeah,
Capacity.
so we decide on that, but who will like who will decide on the capacity of the Scrum Master? So if he is not available, then who should be taking his place and
That's
running the
a very
event?
valid question. So there was a guy. This politics going on in my current organization now. There's this new leader who's come. He was questioning, why do we even need Scrum Masters? This was a couple of months back. He was, why do we even need Scrum Master? Why do we need manual testers? All of that. The new guy comes in, he does all this. So now today he emailed me, Joey, but one of your Scrum Master is missing. We need a backup Scrum Master. Yeah, what is happening? This is not good here. There could be a potential escalation point here. I said, but 2 months, boss, you were telling no Scrum Masters are needed. Anyway, so typically for every team, there is somebody else also. So sometimes PO can play in that pitch in. Sometimes a senior technical lead can pitch in. Sometimes a QA manager can get in. It depends. So, but there has to be, if Scrum Master is not there, then typically DSUs will go on. You can rotate it. Even retros can be rotated. In grooming calls, PO can take the lead. So there are alternatives too if Scrum Master is not there. And that has to be built in every team.
Okay.
Does that answer you?
Yes, but maybe is it a question that can be asked in the interview? No.
They can ask you anything, but yeah, this is not that. But this is a very simple, straightforward question. Yes, you would need a backup too, but your team should be self-organized. It means even if the Scrum Master is not there, they should be able to run without you. सिर्फ इंटरव्यू में बोलना है, एक्चुअल लाइफ में you have to create your own dependency.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Sudipta ma'am.
So just a follow up, like a Scrum Master reports to whom? Just with this question, it came to my mind.
It's crazy, man. It depends. Sometimes the product managers, sometimes agile coaches, sometimes CTOs, sometimes delivery manager. It depends. But mostly he should report to a very top guy, because otherwise if he's reporting to some product management team, it's a conflict of interest. Even delivery manager is a problem. He should ideally report to CTO, CEO, something of that sort, or the at least whosoever is the top guy in your, because you can get a lot of organizational blockers. Other teams is not responding. Infra is not providing you support. All sorts of these things can happen. Resourcing needs can come. So you need to report to a top guy so that somebody can listen to your issues. So in an ideal world, it should be with the top guy, but in real world, it could be with agile coaches also. It could be with delivery managers also.
From my experience, we used to report to the directors in product-based companies, and directors, senior directors, vice presidents.
I am very wary of reporting to directors. I was always in the interviews, I asked them specifically, who am I reporting to? Because it makes a difference to how you work as a Scrum Master. If you're not,
because many product-based companies, they don't have agile team actually. So specifically, they'll be merging with the managers and directors actually.
Yes.
Reporting directly.
These are getting into too many details. Let's focus on the basics, boss. These are the 5 blockers, and then we'll go through the list of next blockers. Once you are clear with what sort of blockers you get and what are the solutions, you should not only be knowing blockers, but their solutions also. Okay, both things. So once you know these things, then you can apply for interviews. rest of the things we'll cover. If you can tell them, and again, 3 mock interviews you have to use very judiciously. If you are an acting Scrum Master, then it is easy. But if you are not an acting Scrum Master, then use your 3 interviews, then another 3 real-time interviews. It will take 6 or 7 interviews before you get a hang of these things. Be nice and kind to yourself. First interview you have taken and it's not clear. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm not good. This is not going to work out. Yeah, you have never worked as a Scrum Master. How the hell are you supposed to clear it? Okay, so don't. 6 interviews it will take. And then 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, next set of 4, 5, 6 interviews, you should be able to crack 1 or 2 of them. But if you are good, if you follow the rule of 8, then you can crack 4 or 5 interviews. You can have multiple offers. But this is again a slow market. So, but market is still there for the right candidates. This is not like Corona time. You should have 2 hands, 2 eyes. Oh, we can get you a job. Those were days. Now you need to know your stuffs too. But market is still there. Market is, if you're good, if you understand things, if you're able to explain well, market is still there. And blockers are very important. If you can make them understand the blockers and the solutions, that's your 60% of the job done. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Solve these blockers. Okay, Wasim sir. Okay, this batch is really good. Too many lot of questions.
Sir, like not question. The last day you told to make a Jira project and
Did you?
I did.
Yes. Yes. Good. Maybe next time you can share it. And all of you, please make a Jira project and try to practice it. I just started out. There are a few more things in it that I have to explain in this. But
Okay,
good,
sir.
you are practicing.
Yes, sir.
Nice, nice. Okay, we can wind up another 10:26, man. When will I wind up on time? Sorry, a
Can you
lot
share
of
this chat
batches
details
complain.
in
I don't allow them to have proper dinners. So
No, we can listen you for 2-3 hours also.
Yes.
Sir, we had our dinner before the
we
session.
I never had my dinner. Okay.
I too never had. But it's good to hear, like we can listen for long hours. It
Yes,
will be a
yes.
difficult session for you, not us.
Really? No. But okay, it is nice to see that you guys are damn interested in Agile.
This
But
is
we are just
actually
warming up.
interesting.
There are so many different things that we have to discuss. I think you'll like them all.
So this is actually better than development, sir. Development every time with machine we have to be client. It's actually people are
Wait till you get into toxic managers and toxic management and all those people. You will have to do a delivery, and then your main lead will say, "Oh, I cannot come today, boss." So see, everything has advantages and disadvantages. Everything. There is nothing in life which only gives you pleasure and no pain. Pleasure and pain both will come. This is how life works. Whatever you do, this is how life will work. Anyways, this is too much philosophy now. Let's not get into it. Okay. Can we wind up for the day? And
Sure.
Yeah, can you share the chat details? The things which are given in chat in the mail.
What exactly?
This technical, this one process.
Through an email you want?
Yeah, through email.
Okay. I will send
the content in the chat, no? Front and back end.
Okay. And can somebody add Rupa into your group or chat group or whatever it is you are having, and send Rupa all the whatever we have shared so far. So Rupa, can you put your email? These guys will send you the details here.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Okay. Go through the sessions, ask me questions. So maybe tomorrow or Thursday we can get into a 5-minute session, and then if you have any clarifications, I can send.
And just one more question I have. Do we get any practical session over Jira board, Kanban?
Yes. We had one in the, I think, previous one or last one, but we'll have more of those. I've just started out on Jira, so a lot of other things have to come.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, have a nice, and then let's see each other tomorrow. Take care.
Bye.
Good
Sir,
night, sir.
good
Bye.
day. Bye.